and welcome back to MTOP. We're doing a series on the city charter revisions happening. Mayor Eric Adams is doing a city charter revision in 2025. And this is our first part series in that. And so let's go ahead and just begin. So what is the city charter? Most people don't even know what the city charter is. It's actually the city's constitution. It is basically all of the agencies, their roles, the things that they have to do, the rules and the laws on how to govern New York City. That's what it is. City charter revisions allow an entity or entities to change the law, and the voters have to approve the changes via behind a voting ballot. There's normally the changes are behind the paper ballot that you're given when you go to vote. Then normally a very short description of what the changes are. Then normally the description is normally positive. And for the most part, most valid questions and changes are approved by the public. But it is a public process. So who can change the city charter? Well, the mayor can change it, the city council, and the public can change it. And normally you change it via three ways. A charter commission is created, you can change it that way. Initiative and referendum is done. That's more like with the public, if you can do that, and then direct legislative action. Most of the time, the initiative referendum would require a tremendous amount of effort on the part of the person who wants to make the city charter changes, because you would need at least 10% of the people who voted for the governor in the last governor's race in order to sign to even begin the process. So just that could be quite daunting and overwhelming. And then it's very expensive, these revisions. And, there's a lot of community outreach and hearings and transcripts and lawyers. So it's a process that we've never seen an initiative or referendum. What we've seen is the charter commissions. And so this is the normal route that is taken by the mayor and the city council, or even sometimes the state. How often is the city charter changed? Well, right now we only have 7 revisions within over 125 years. So it's not often, right? It started back in 1898 was the first one. In 1975, there was a major change to the city charter around land use. This is where the uniform land use review process was entered into law. Community boards were more solidified and given money to hire district managers. It also allowed the community to oversee rezoning applications, to be a part of that process. However, it kind of ended short, because even though the community has some pulpit power, there is no serious voting power. So that means that their vote is advisory only. But it did at least give the community an opportunity to review and to put political pressure on the elected officials, because it has to go through the community board for this review. And then in 2020, not 19, in 2020, there was another one. And this one, we most of us may still remember that. This is the one that established ranked choice voting and do the city charter revision that was being pushed by the city council. And we now have ranked choice voting as a result of that city charter. Last year, Eric Adams did a city charter revision as well. And the purpose of that was to curtail the city council's power. And 4 out of 5 of those changes were voted in by the public almost just 2 months ago in November. So that's who can basically do it. So most of these have gone through a charter commission. So they create a charter commission, and I'm just going to review that process a little so you kind of understand how this process is going to work. First, the entity, let's say the mayor, and so we're going to focus on the mayor's commission that is happening right now. And he, puts an application in, says he wants to do a city charter revision. He chooses the commissioners on this revision. Okay. And then they come out to the public and say, hey, we're the commission, for the mayor, and we're going to sit there and focus on this and that. And they stated that they're going to focus on land use, right? Their whole focus of the uniform land use review process. They're going to be looking at that. They're going to be looking at how to allow developers to build easier and faster. Okay. One of the things they have to do is they have to have hearings. So you have to have a public hearings on these commission, on these, the possibility, because the idea is that when you make your final choice, it's actually the will of the people that you're listening to. So how can you do something without first hearing from the public? So there's hearings all throughout the 5 boroughs. Each one of these hearings are transcribed, and given, those transcripts are given to the commissioners before the next meeting. So there's a lot of people behind this process. You have assistants, you have transcribers, you have people who will edit, and there's a lot of work and energy and money put behind these public hearings. Then sometimes you get to a final place, right, where the public and where the commissioners then do these public conversations, where they'll start talking about the proposals, what they like, what they didn't like. They might ask for experts to come in and speak to them about a particular issue. So sometimes there could be some additional hearings, but not just for the general public, but just for this special group. And they might ask lawyers to come in and community, advocates on a particular issue, just to give them a more well-rounded education on an issue. And then they finally kind of decide what they want to do and the proposals that they want to present to the community for change. Then there's this big campaign, again, where, the mayor would be campaigning and going out there and spreading literature about the 5 proposals or the 6 proposals or the 10 proposals, whatever, how many proposals are created. There'll be this positive push about how great these proposals are. And then it gets onto the ballot and gets voted in by the public. Most of the time, most people don't find out about the ballot questions until the day of election, unfortunately. And then they might flip over and see the questions. They might see this short positive blurb, and so they normally vote yes for it. And that's the downside of that, right? The last time, however, that we had, a city charter revision was just a year ago, which again is a very unusual kind of spacing and spacing. You don't do hearing city charter revisions so quickly, one behind the other, but it kind of just shows you the political environment that we're in and how our mayor is pushing for more power, or not removing power. Let's put it like that. The last city charter revision, which happened in 2024, was removing some of the power of the city council, where they had to go through a couple of more hoops and loops and stuff like that in order to get city agency to respond to them. And then right on the back of that, here comes another city charter revision being pushed by Mayor Eric Adams. So the question actually is being asked, well, what is this commission going to be focusing on, right? They said they're going to be focusing on land use. But what we do know is this conversation has been in effect since 2022, when Mayor Eric Adams first came to be the mayor. He had the Citizens Budget Commission, which is made up of, lawyers and heads of city agencies and for-profit entities. There's no grassroots organizations invited, no city council people invited to this commission or a part of this commission. And they were asked, well, what would be some of the suggestions that you would make? to the land use process. And so they came up with these suggestions, and we'll review them really quickly. One was to remove the community boards from the YOLA process right off the bat, completely undoing the 1975 city charter change. And because, they're saying the community boards are not informed, they don't have a city planner to advise them, they're ignorant, they say no to things that they shouldn't be saying no to because they just don't know. And it could save from 7 months to 5 months. It could be a faster process if you don't have to have the community board involved in it. The other one was, well, just let the borough president speak for the community board. I mean, the borough presidents at the end of the day are the ones who choose the board members, right? So if he's choosing them, let him speak for them. Okay. And then the other one was place the community board before the process has been certified by the Department of City Planning, a rezoning application, before the YOLA process even begins. So instead of it happening right at the beginning of the YOLA process, it would happen before the YOLA process while all the deals are being done. Now, everybody kind of knows, if you're in the know, that all the deals are kind of done before the Department of City Planning certifies an application. And by the way, a certified application has a 99.9% chance of passing. So that kind of shows you, that there are the deals that happen before. However, the problem with that is that there's no decisions that have been made, right? So you could have this, the community board sitting behind closed doors and being told, yes, we're going to consider this, and yes, you're going to consider that. But once that application is certified, possibly nothing that they suggested could be incorporated. And then that will be the end of their input, right? There would be no public hearings, there would be no pulpit power, and there would be no way of really pushing back against it because they will no longer be a part of the process. Because they would have, had their say beforehand, even if they were ignored. And then the last one, which definitely will be on the city charter revisions of final, is the elimination of the city council deference. And this is a process that some people are aware of, and more people are becoming aware of, where an application has to have the local city council's approval. Now, this allows the public, the community residents, some power over their city council, and thus some power over a rezoning application, right? This allows the public to be able to put pressure on the city council, and then the city council then puts pressure on the developer, maybe to make changes, to sometimes say outright, no, that's not coming here. Or, that's a deal that we're not accepting, you have to do better. Because if you don't, right, and if the city council person does not support the rezoning, then it just doesn't pass the city council. And if it doesn't pass the city council, then that's the end of that, right? They kind of have the final word. There is talk about removing, and remember, the city council deference is not a law, it's just a practice. It's just the way in which the city council members all support each other, knowing how influential the real estate industry can be, right? A lot of the city council members have been pushed and put into the city council positions by real estate money. And you may not sit there and have that happen to you as a city council person. You might have, worked and gotten your own support. And you definitely don't want another city council person kind of telling you what to do in your neighborhood and in your community, especially if they were put there by the real estate industry. But now they're trying to do away with that city council deference. They're trying to figure a way in which if the city council says no, then there's a way to send it like to, Mayor Eric Adams' office. So he can say yes to it, or force it to have a certain, have a way in which, the city council will have more ability to say no or yes to an application that the local council person has said no to. And this is very concerning. This should be a very, very concerning, because there's still a lot of development that happens, right? So it's not like city council deference is, says no, no, no. There's a lot of yes, 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 but this will almost assure that there will be a yes, yes, yes everywhere. And we just wanted to talk about our borough president, just go back for a few minutes about the idea that the borough presidents are now going to speak for the residents in their borough. Reynoso, our Brooklyn borough president, Reynoso, stood up during a City of Yes hearing, a public hearing, right on the record, and said, and I quote, "I don't listen to community boards because they are made up of homeowners and rent stabilized tenants." But now there will be the idea that he will speak for us. Why would we want him speaking for us when he won't listen to us? That's a question that we have to ask ourselves. So let's move on. So what can you do? You can attend the Mayor's City Charter Revision hearings. They are happening. The first one is happening in Brooklyn on Tuesday, February 11th, from 5 to 8 p.m. at 9 Metro Tech Center. That's right downtown Brooklyn. So definitely try to attend that. You can attend any of these hearings. You can attend all the hearings. Right now, one has been scheduled for each borough at different times in different locations. So please think about coming and testifying. Of course, you might want to go to your borough because it'll make it easier to get there. But you can go to any hearing and speak and voice your concern. The other thing is you need to start educating people about the voting practices and the city charter reforms. This is probably the most important city charter revision since 1975, when we were given the opportunity to have a voice. The community was given the opportunity to have a voice. They're about to try to take that voice away from us. And even though there's a lot of problems with the current process, but it would be a lot worse without it, right? So think about educating people. Share this video. Ask people to come to these city charter revisions. Follow. We're going to keep doing these videos. We're going to watch the city charter process. We're going to keep you informed about the conversations that are being had. So, stay with us. Check your email. Forward these videos. Let people know about what's happening. And then, at the end of the day, just tell them, say no. Vote no in November. Remember, vote no in November, because I can tell you, I don't even have to go to all the hearings. And I can tell you at the end of the day, they are talking about the disempowerment of the community when it comes to land use. And I haven't even, the process haven't even begun. Okay, so who are we? MTOP, the Movement to Protect the People. We're a grassroots organization that has been in existence for over a decade. We are in the Brooklyn Crown Heights Flatbush community. Our main focus is on rezonings and development. We were the first community of color to stop a district-wide rezoning from happening, which would have allowed a massive amount of development in our communities. We filed lawsuits as a pro se litigant. We made history again by being the first community to reject an application that was about to be certified by the Department of City Planning, which was, again, a miracle. And, I had a 1% chance, and we were that 1%. And then, so we have been very instrumental and important in these struggles, development struggles and rezoning struggles, and really trying to ensure that the community has a voice and what happens to their land, what happens to their homes and their neighborhoods and their community. If you would like to reach us, please just go to our website at www.mtop, that's MTOP dsp.org, and you'll find more information there, a whole host of information, all kinds of different issues relating to land use. Or you can call us. We always like those phone calls. 718-703-3086. And that's it for us. And we look forward to, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a wonderful day. Bye.